Part 2. Pyromancer. 10 years ago. Screams filled the facility as the burnt bodies of the security guards simmered on the facility floor. Seven smiled at his work, happy he had finally been able to use his powers. Four and the others waited by the exit for him to finish off the rest, but one protected the other doctors, nurses, and staff from Seven's flames. "Get out of the way, one!" Four yelled. "This isn't right," one said. "You promised no one would get hurt." "As soon as we get to the surface, they will come after us. We need to end this before it even starts," Four said. Dr. Childress stood behind one, quivering in fear but wanting to protect his staff. "Please," he said, "let the staff go. They're just people doing their jobs. If anyone must be hurt, let it be me." Four led the others out of the building. "You can't do this," one yelled. Nine looked back as she left, but turned away upon catching one's gaze. "Roast them," Four said. Seven's smile became a grimace as the flames he controlled grew around his hands. Four followed behind the rest of his siblings as two led them toward the stairs that would take them to the surface. Nine stopped, pulling Four to the side as the others kept going. "What is it, Nine?" Four asked. "Is this necessary?" she said. "One should be coming with us." "Yes, it is necessary. By protecting them, one is putting his own needs before us." "I don't believe that." She placed a hand on his shoulder, looking into his eyes. Four looked away. "They must pay for what they did to you," he said. "For what they did to 8. Six appeared from the corridor. He saw Nine's hand on Four's shoulder and looked at them quizzically. "Two found the exit," Six said. "Let's go." "We're coming," Four replied. "Nine, you go back with Six. I'll go get Seven." "And one?" she asked. "And one." Seven blasted the flames emitting from his hands at one. One dodged, and the flames caught a scientist behind him. She screamed as Dr. Childress and the others worked to put out the flames. One lunged at Seven and tackled him to the ground. "Stop this!" One demanded as he pinned Seven's hands to the ground. "You're on the wrong side," Seven said. One punched Seven, a right hook followed by a left hook, but Seven blocked. Seven countered, slapping one across the face with a fireball. Seven jumped back to his feet. A smile grew on his face as fire engulfed his hands. He blasted the flames at the group of scientists, but one jumped in front of them, taking the blast to the chest. "Stop protecting them!" Seven yelled. One fought through the pain as he stood up to face Seven. "They don't need to die for us to live," one said. "It's either them or us, One." "It doesn't have to be." Seven fired a stream of fire. "Get back!" One yelled to the scientists. They all ran and hid behind their desks. One dodged the flames, but it followed him. He flipped a table onto its side, then hid behind it, using it to block the flames. "If I have to kill you to get to them, I will," Seven yelled. "One!" Dr. Childress called from behind a table across the room. "He is not going to listen to you." One ignored him. The table began to melt, and as it did, he broke a leg off. Without looking, One hurled it at Seven. The flames stopped. One came from behind the desk, and Seven stood there with the leg impaled in his chest. "Brother," One said. "I didn't mean to." Seven looked at the piece of metal in his chest, then looked up at One. Confusion, followed by anger, washed over Seven's face in a split second. Then he fell to the ground, dead. Four stood there in the doorway, his eyes wide in disbelief. Tears started to well, and his face turned red. He looked at One. One just stood there. "This didn't have to happen," one said. 4 didn't respond. He let out a howling scream, then raised his arms. The building quaked, and Dr. Childress and the others held on to each other. There was a loud cracking as the walls and ground began to rip apart. 4 brought his hands down, and when 1 looked up, the roof was collapsing.